Now let's welcome Joy Miedecke, the president of the East Valley Republican Women's Headquarters, and Rich Gilgallen, the conservative voice of the Coachella Valley and beyond. Let's give it up for Joy and Rich and another episode of the Rich and Joy Show.
Yes, they do.
And we are witnessing those consequences every hour.
Yeah.
Every hour it gets better.
Yeah.
It gets better. Every announcement gets better. And better. Who? No. No, we didn't. And the outrage, of the networks. I heard Rachel Madcow say today that is he trying to destroy the country with these?
Oh my goodness gracious! By putting these incredible people in positions that they can fix that have been screwed up by this last
4 years.
No, and more than that.
More than that.
More than that.
Well, I want to take a second before we start because we saw, and we knew it was coming, this amazing rise of the Hispanic vote. Mm-hmm. And I have to tell you, 10 years ago, this woman right here and this organization, this woman and this organization bought billboards all across this Coachella Valley. And they put on those billboards, Republican values are Hispanic values. And this community right here, before any place else in the country, is what started that. And this is the woman that started that. She doesn't like to take praise, okay? But let's praise her.
Oh, thank you.
And we saw what happened.
Yeah.
We saw what happened.
It was incredible.
Because it's true.
It's true.
Conservative values are Hispanic values. And so I just don't want even this show to begin without mentioning that. Because it's very, very important. And we had this election. It was supposed to be Joe Biden against Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. It took one debate and maybe 5 questions before the panic set in.
Yeah.
Whoa, no. They lied to us about Joe Biden. In fact, they lied to us about everything. They lied to us about vaccines, for example. Mm-hmm. They said if you get a COVID vaccine, you can't get COVID. Yes, you can. They said if you get a COVID vaccine, you can't spread COVID.
Yes, you did.
Yes, you can. Lie after lie after lie. They lied to us about climate change. They still do. There's a big article today, though, about the fallacy of that. You can check your news sites. They lied to us about the economy. Economy's great. It's great, right?
Yeah.
You go shopping, don't you?
Not anymore. I'm waiting.
I mean, what you paid $80 for, you go to Costco. Can you get out of there for less than $200?
No, it's a $400 club now.
Yeah, and they destroyed the hand up that was provided by, for example, the 99-cent store. I used to be able to go in there with $15 and eat like Louis XV.
Yeah, they're not even in existence.
They don't
anymore.
exist. They went out of business. So sad.
Can you imagine?
The economy was horrible, and we knew that.
Yeah, and the other thing, Rich, is the portions. It's not only raising the prices, but the portions got smaller.
Well, they had to. I mean, they had to because they got to buy the portions.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what happens. It starts from the top and works its way down.
That's right.
They lied to us about Biden's mental health. And was it ever more apparent than in that debate where he's oh my God. And so they panicked.
They did.
They turned their back and fomented an unbelievable rise of anti-Semitism in this country,
horrid.
In America. They kept talking about us. Mm-hmm. Oh, the rally at Madison Square Garden. Well, that's where the Nazis rallied in 1939. Well, that's where Joe Frazier beat Muhammad Ali too. I mean, it's an arena.
Right.
This is so much like 1939.
It's just
Trump,
terrible.
His minions are marching to his orders. We don't march to his orders. He marches to our orders.
That's right.
He's fighting for us. We're not out there, worshiping at the altar of Donald Trump. Donald Trump sees the reality that we see.
He absolutely does. I mean, when you think about him and who he is and what he's lived all of his life, and then he understands and recognizes what we are, it's amazing.
It's amazing. And we saw that in the 2 times that we've seen him here. When we met him a few years ago while he was president.
Yeah, that was incredible.
And he pulled up in Air Force One. And my heart started to beat. And he came out of the plane. He clapped his hands. How you doing? How you doing? And, I know how politicians are generally. And usually they shake this hand while they're looking at that person. They're just trying to get through the line. So I wore my Rush Limbaugh EIB shirt that day because he had just given the great Rush Limbaugh the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
So he was coming down the line, and there was 2 big guys standing next to me, and Karen, thank God, was behind me with a camera. And I got his hand, and I pulled him in. I said, Mr. President, thanks for taking care of Rush. I pointed at the EIB, and he pulled me in. He said he's a great American.
Yeah.
And so are you. I felt like a 14-year-old girl meeting Paul McCartney in 1964. So he does. He speaks for us. And we see this horrific rise of anti-Semitism because the Democrat Party has lost its way.
Yes.
This is not the Democratic Party
right.
of John Kennedy. It is not the Democratic Party of Lyndon Johnson.
No.
It is this odd combination of network personalities and hack politicians that are just the worst that I have ever seen in my 70 years on this planet. And I was a Democratic activist for a long time. 312 to 226 in the Electoral College. The only states she won were the states where there's no voter ID. Coincidence?
Isn't that interesting?
Coincidence, you might say?
Yeah, and now it's against the law in California. They can lock you up for that. I hope you know that.
Yeah, for asking.
If you ask for ID, they can lock you up.
And what were they
That's what
promoting?
we've come to in California.
What did they promote? They promoted allowing grown men to participate against women in high school
Ridiculous.
and college sports
That's right.
because they identify as a woman.
Yeah.
They picked Tim Waltz. What kind of pick was that?
Yeah.
Tampon Tim.
No, that was really
Tampon Tim, whose whole thing was putting tampons in men's rooms.
Well, it wasn't even good strategy. It was strategy. It was ridiculous
Well,
that they brought him in.
I mean, thank God they
what a
did.
goon.
Typical goofball who
Yeah.
lied about his military service, which is something that a lot of these Democrats seem to feel is part of their right to do. And in the most amazing Orwellian twist of a phrase, in my view, they only had one issue, which they kept beating us up with: abortion. But they didn't call it abortion; they called it reproductive rights.
Yeah.
That's Orwellian. You have a right to reproduce if you want to. In the age, they had the Stone Age, they had the Bronze Age, they had the Age of Reason. We have grown up, all of us, in the age of contraception. I mean, as they look back at the history books from the late 50s through today, it's the age of contraception. Right. And so this notion of reproductive rights, you have the right to reproduce. That's Orwellian. The question is, do you stop the reproduction? And they tried to make that the anvil against conservatives. Sadly for them, 45% of the women in this country voted for Donald Trump.
Yeah. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. It was better than we ever thought it was going to be. I mean, I really didn't dream that it would be this kind of a vote.
It was an amazing vote.
Yeah. And I didn't think we were going to know it that night, but we did. And that was what was really wonderful, because we could go to sleep and know that.
Did you go to sleep? I couldn't sleep awake. I was like,
I did.
I can't believe it. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, there was a lot of prayer.
Lots of prayer.
A lot of prayer in this country.
Yeah.
for his safety. They tried to look. Let's
Yes.
just reflect, okay, for a minute on how amazing this win is. They arrested him.
Mm-hmm.
They took his picture as a mugshot,
Right.
and they thought that was going to put an end to his
Can you
campaign.
believe it?
How many of those shirts do you sell in
Oh,
here at the
my
Patriot
God.
store?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I put it up on my wall.
Yeah.
It's one of the greatest mugshots of all time.
Yes, absolutely.
It showed, then somebody, I won't say they because I don't think that's necessarily fair, but some whack job found his way to a roof and shot him. And it was a miracle of God
Yes, it was.
that he didn't get
There's
hit
no
right
other
here.
explanation for
There's
that.
The screen that he was pointing to usually was on his left.
Yeah.
And for some reason they put it on his right. And he just turned.
Uh-huh.
An angel
Yep.
just turned his head.
That's right. An angel turned his head.
And they mocked him for that. They said, I swear I have people in my life who say, well, he set that up. Oh, he set up getting shot in the ear?
Yeah, how do you do that?
I mean, that's pretty powerful.
Uh-huh.
And that moment when he stood up and said, fight,
Uh-huh.
fight, this election was over, in my view. I'll tell you when else this election was over. When these dear soldiers were in Afghanistan, one of them from our own community,
Uh-huh.
beautiful kid with amazing parents who I adore. And maybe the most disgraceful exhibition of the United States military in the history of the world. We're the nation that saved the world.
Yes.
We saved the world from the Hun. We saved the world several times. Us, this country. And these people hate the country so much they can't even wrap their heads around the fact that we did that. That our treasure,
Mm-hmm.
that your father.
But
My father,
yeah.
my grandfather, my brothers, my cousins. They saved the world. Now, in 1940, just to preface what's going to happen when Pete Hegseth gets into the Secretary of Defense. How about Elizabeth Warren? God Almighty! First thing she says is, "Well, I'm on the Defense Subcommittee. Wouldn't it be nice if we had somebody other than a Fox News commentator, with some maybe some military background to be the Secretary of
Oh my
Defense?"
God, what an
I was
embarrassment.
like, "Oh my God,
My brothers were in.
unbelievable!"
Just horrible. Just
So-
horrible.
Abbey-gate is when this election turned. When we turned our back on our own soldiers.
Mhm.
When we left them with no defense.
That's right.
We left them to be slaughtered
Mhm.
by these insane,
Ignorant.
ignorant, insane Muslim terrorists.
Mhm.
And then when they brought the bodies back, and he's like, "See, how long do I have to be here?" He's looking at his watch. How long do I have to be here? And then has the, what are you trying to say, Heidi? Please, are we not doing something? Tell me seriously. And they, the notion that they could care less. Donald Trump reached out to
I know.
these families,
It was
right?
terrible, yes.
Before
Absolutely.
Joe Biden did.
Mhm.
And then he always, as he always did, said, "Well, my son, I know how you feel,
Yeah.
My son came back,
Yeah.
in a
Right.
box."
Right.
No, he didn't, Joe.
No.
Just lied to these people.
Crazy people. I mean, it's amazing when you think about it, that how they reacted, how the Democrats reacted, and hid from what the truth was. It's horrible. And if you want to stop and think back about all of this stuff that happened, it's almost like you can't stomach it. You can't believe. And guess what? Nobody did anything. They just kept it up. They kept talking about it. And it was just horrible. And it is horrible. And I hope this is in the history books too, because I doubt if it will be. I don't even know if we're going to have history books anymore.
Well, that's a good.
At least for the kids.
I think we might. That's another thing we'll talk about as this program continues. But we're finally, I think, with Pete Hegseth, who's a brilliant pick. Let me just tell you about Pete Hegseth, who was the first, other than Marco Rubio.
Right.
Marco Rubio, will start there. What a pick
Yes.
for Secretary of State. First of all, it's a nod to the Hispanic vote. Don't think it isn't.
Absolutely.
Second of all, we have issues in Europe, no question. But we need a Secretary of State that can speak Spanish fluently,
Yes.
because we got a lot of issues
That's right.
south of this border
You better
that
believe
have to be addressed. And this is exactly the right guy at exactly the right time to be able to do it. We have issues with Mexico, with Venezuela, with Colombia,
Yep.
with Brazil, all of these countries in South America that we hardly even deal with.
Yeah.
Now we have a guy who will be able to deal with it, who understands what communism is like in Cuba. Brilliant pick.
It's true.
Brilliant pick. Pete Hegseth.
It's got kind of a
2 Bronze
interesting,
Stars.
past too.
Elizabeth, Pocahontas.
Yeah.
Hello. 2 Bronze Stars, 2 Army Commendation Medals, National Defense Service Medal, Global War on Terrorism Medal, Expert Infantry Badge, Combat Infantry Badge, the Executive Director of the War on Warriors, the writer of the book, The War on Warriors, Behind the Betrayal of the Men Who Keep Us Free. That's the title of his book, and it's an amazing book, and it lays it out moment by moment by moment what happened. Do you know that we left behind, Donald Trump was prepared to exit Afghanistan.
Yeah.
We were all prepared. Okay, it's been 20 something years.
Yeah.
But it was, you have to do it in a manner that's reasonable.
Of
in other
course.
words, we left $7 billion worth of the top shelf military equipment behind.
And they sold it and made a ton of money.
$7
Fight
billion
us.
worth of equipment. And we left 15 bodies. And I hope before Pete Hegseth is through, and I
Yeah.
believe he will, that we'll have some justice for Hunter Lopez
I agree. Yes.
and his beautiful parents, who are public service
Yeah.
here in the Coachella Valley. His father is a beautiful man who's a sheriff's officer, and his mother is also works for the sheriff's department. And I call her Vito Corleone because at the Republican convention, when she was up on that stage,
Yeah.
you might remember The Godfather when after Sonny got killed, and Vito talked to the rest of the guys. He said, okay, I lost a son. All right, I don't blame anybody, but I have another son. And if he should trip crossing a street, if an anvil should fall out of the sky or lightning strike, I'm going to hold people in this room responsible. And the beautiful Mrs. Lopez got up there and said, I have another son in the service, and I do not want this man to be the commander in chief. That campaign started to fold at that
Yes, it
moment,
did.
in my
Yeah.
opinion. So Pete Hegseth, what do you think?
Oh, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled. I mean, I watch him on Fox, and the guy is one smart guy, brilliant. I mean, his just his background in school and all the things that he knows, and actually
Went
being
to
there.
Princeton and Harvard.
Yeah.
Harvard. For all you Bostonians out there,
Yeah.
he went to Harvard.
But what's behind this, Rich? How is he pulling all these people together? He's been watching them.
Yes.
He knows what they're capable of. He knows their value, and he's bringing them in one by one. Every day, it's a big surprise.
Yes.
Who's the next one going to be?
Well, I'm waiting for Tucker Carlson to be the press secretary.
Yeah,
Would that be,
God.
Mr. President, if you're watching,
yeah,
Tucker for press secretary?
yeah. That's right.
How good would that be?
Yeah,
Or
because-
Hannity.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not Hannity.
Yeah.
But certainly Tucker would
Certainly
be a
Tucker,
brilliant
yeah.
press secretary, and we'd get the truth.
Yeah, and we get
because
the
we
truth.
haven't gotten the truth.
No,
So they're
it's-
going after Pete Hegseth because they don't know who he is.
Yeah.
And because he worked for Fox.
But Matt Gaetz are really going after.
It's Matt Gaetz that they're going after. And I want to point out a couple of things. You guys are too young to remember. I'm not. In 1960, the president-elect John Fitzgerald Kennedy selected his brother
Yes.
to be the attorney
That's
general.
right.
Was there a hue and cry in the
No.
Democratic Party? Can you imagine if Donald Trump said, I'm going to put my son in as the attorney general?
Yeah, exactly.
Their heads are already
Explosions
exploding.
in their brain.
Their heads are exploding already. Look, I'll say this about Matt Gaetz. I don't always agree with Matt Gaetz, but he stood up against his own party when he felt like his own party was not following the will of the American people. And Matt Gaetz was right. And look at the speaker we have now. No messing around with this guy. So he's courageous. And if you look at his record, he was very active in Florida politics. His family was involved in Florida politics for years. And he had a lot to do with the election of their current governor, who we all love, who I love. And so this guy's not he didn't fall off the garbage truck yesterday.
The garbage truck. That's a truck.
He's a fighter, and he's got a backbone. And boy, you're going to need one when you go in there and start wheeling there.
It's not just over because Trump's doing the picks. Then we have to fight the battles.
We got to fight the battles.
Yeah.
And the same with Hegseth. When Hegseth goes in, there is precedent, which I told you about. 1940, Franklin Roosevelt lopped off the dead weight at the top of the Pentagon, lopped off so many generals that it allowed for colonels to rise. You know who those colonels were? George Patton, Dwight Eisenhower, George MacArthur, Omar Bradley, and they saved the world.
Yeah.
Because there was dead weight in there. And I'll tell you, there's dead weight in there now.
I was just going to say, look at what we've got.
What
now,
have
and
we
we've
done
had the
to our
last 4
military,
years.
Joy?
What a joke.
With this DEI, you got the Secretary of the Navy, you look at him, her, whatever, I don't know, you're like, what is that?
Well, and
who's afraid of that?
They've done. I mean, free transgender surgeries, really, in the military?
No.
Give us a break.
That was another thing that ended this campaign, is that unbelievable commercial of Kamala in her own words.
Yeah.
Every prisoner who's transgendered should get their free surgery.
Oh, my God.
I'm like, that was it.
Yeah.
There's no way she could win. That's not America.
No.
That's not the feeling of the people of this country. I mean, and
What's the percentage? Give me a break
I mean, it's
here.
such a small percentage.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And then you have Tulsi Gabbard. Boy, I got goosebumps. I do. I'm very emotional. Tulsi Gabbard had such courage.
Yes, she did.
She was a Democrat.
Big step.
Democrat in Hawaii.
Yeah.
She. Let me tell you about Tulsi Gabbard. Apparently, her appointment alarms the intelligence community.
Right.
Good.
Yeah. Well, would they snatch her off a plane and said that she couldn't? I didn't really remember the whole story, but they went after her because they don't think that she was doing the right thing. I don't know.
The no-fly list.
Yeah, the no-fly list. But what was the reason for that?
Look,
She's too close to Putin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
ridiculous. Tulsi Gabbard.
Is that kind of like I can see Russia from my
backyard?
Yeah, from my backyard.
I loved her though. I
Yeah.
still love Sarah Palin. I don't care what anybody says. So it alarms the intelligence community. Who's the intelligence community? 51 of them were the people that signed that fake news document.
Yep.
So that in the debate with Trump, Biden could throw it onto that.
Yeah.
It's 51 people. 51 military intelligence geniuses said this is probably Russian propaganda. No, it wasn't. That was a big lie. All 51 of those guys hit the highway.
Yeah.
And your security clearance, gone.
Yep.
Go away. Don't ever come back. And they're on MSNBC right now, still lying. And they can't wait to get those guys on.
Right.
51 of them. Disgraceful
Yeah.
that they would do that in the middle of
That's
a campaign.
right.
Tulsi Gabbard, Combat Medical Badge,
Yeah.
Meritorious Service Medal. While in the Hawaii legislature as an elected representative, she enlisted in the Hawaii National Guard and took a 12-month tour in Iraq, specialist with the 29th Support Battalion. And because of her deployment, she did not run for re-election. She was more interested in serving her country
yeah.
than in getting the handshakes at the Hawaii legislature. She was the first woman ever to enter a Kuwaiti military facility and the first woman ever to receive an award of appreciation from the Kuwaiti National Guard. And she's a major,
Amazing.
okay?
Yeah.
And she was dismissed by, of all people, Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut, a United States senator who used to campaign talking about, well, when I was in Vietnam, we had some tough times in the jungle. He was never in Vietnam, never set foot in Vietnam. And he ran on it, he used it in his campaign, and he's a senator of the United States, and he's a disgrace, as is Waltz, for talking about his. Meanwhile, we haven't even mentioned J.D. Vance yet.
Right, that's right.
So you got Hegseth, who's 40.
Yeah.
You got Tulsi, who's in her 40s.
Yeah.
You got Vance, who's going to be 44 next election time.
Yeah.
Anybody loved J.D. Vance?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's going to be terrific. He's going to be a terrific president of the United States.
He certainly is. He certainly
And
is.
he's going to learn from the master.
Blumenthal. I can't even look at this guy.
Yeah.
Talk about stolen valor. A senator of the United States, caught red-handed lying about service in Vietnam. Never went to Vietnam. Unbelievable.
It's just, I don't understand it. I agree.
Okay,
Why
we're not
do you
done
do
yet.
that?
I mean,
Because you don't measure up unless you do. You got to keep putting the things in that shows that you were somebody. Otherwise, you're nobody.
that's right.
But the somebody is a lie.
They just lie.
Just a lie.
They're liars from the beginning. And how about this one? They haven't even touched on this one. How about Mike Huckabee?
Oh my God! What a gift! What a gift! The world has been given a gift.
The ambassador to Israel.
That's right.
Can you imagine? Put yourself in Mike Huckabee's shoes just for a second as he gets that phone call.
Yeah.
This is a guy who is
There's the phone.
supported. Mike, is that you, Mike? This is a guy who has a profound love for Israel. Has traveled to Israel many times,
Uh-huh.
and normally, and this is what's amazing about this Trump administration that is now educated after the first one,
Uh-huh.
where they didn't know what was going on really, and the transition was screwed up by Fat Chris Christie because he was called back to fight about closing a
Yep.
bridge that he shouldn't have closed, and the transition never got off the ground.
No.
This one's off the ground. I think it's safe to say, isn't it, Joe?
Oh yeah, yeah.
This transition's off the ground just fine.
Too many haters of Trump have been in his way for a long time.
I know they
Yeah, it's jealousy. It's nothing
it
but
is.
jealousy.
It is. It's jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
This unbelievable fighter. Now, many years ago, I read the book Art of the Deal, and that's
I
what
want
he
to read
does.
that. I haven't read it.
That's what he does.
Mm-hmm.
He likes deals.
He likes
He
deals.
likes to make a deal. He wants to bring peace to the Middle East. Why? Because it's a deal.
Mm-hmm.
And he was this close with the Abraham Accords, and they tossed it out as soon as they got in there.
If they tossed everything else out.
He had Iran in the poorhouse, and these guys came in and poured money into Iran, poured it into Iran, where a woman, I call them, I don't know, you remember the Little Rascals? You remember Butch?
Yep.
Butch was president of the He-Man Woman Haters Club.
I didn't remember that.
And that's what these Ayatollahs are.
Mm-hmm.
They're like the
Yeah.
president of the He-Man Woman Haters
You're right.
Club. You can't show an ankle without getting beat.
Yeah.
You can't go to school. They closed the women's schools.
So primitive. I mean, what the heck?
It's horrendous.
Was what? Yeah.
I just 5 minutes ago listened to Bibi Netanyahu speak to the Iranian people in English with Farsi underneath.
Yeah.
And he said, look, your government fears us, but they don't fear us as much as they fear you. I mean, this was a beautiful, this is Persia. This is was a beautiful country before these, before Jimmy Carter. The Democrats lost that country to these mullahs. And, that's just more history. So Matt Gaetz is going in with a stiff spine, a guy with the courage of his convictions, and he's going to deal with the corrupt Justice Department. Not the guys on the street, but the political appointees
That's
at the
right.
top, which have Merrick
Of
Garland.
which there are many.
Merrick Garland. I mean, Merrick Garland was only appointed Attorney General because we wouldn't let him get voted on for the Supreme Court. He was up, but they kept pushing it off. No, too late. And that fried their bacon. So as soon as Biden gets in, they put Merrick Garland in as the Attorney General. I mean, that was pure politics and a slap at us. It's amazing. Useless.
Yeah. What about Fauci? We haven't talked about Fauci. We should talk about
I'm
him
getting
a
there.
little bit.
I'm getting there. He's on the list.
Oh,
believe
is he?
me.
I didn't look at the list.
I got a long list over
Got
here.
a long list.
Well, that's RFK. So we'll go to RFK. We took care of Tulsi, Marco Rubio, and look, this is how they operate. The vaccines. Do you know how many people have died before the age of 50 from a heart attack?
Yeah.
In the last several years. Now they're going to say disinformation. No, it isn't. I know some. They were fine. They got the vaccine, and if you look the videos, they're it's petrifying because they're talking and boom, down they go.
Yeah. I haven't seen that.
Hundreds of them, thousands of people
Yeah.
were made ill
Yeah.
by this government-run Fauci. Except for Fauci, everybody had to wear a mask, right?
Yes.
Then there's a picture of Yankee Stadium with Fauci sitting with his friends. No mask. No mask. Nancy Pelosi, everybody's got to wear a mask. She goes, gets her hair done. No mask. No mask.
I can't tell you how many masks we sold during that time that had holes in them. They couldn't have done anybody any good, but they were very fashionable.
Yeah.
Well, we know now. We're wise.
Uh-huh.
We're wise to him.
That's right.
And I'll never forget when Trump got COVID.
Yeah.
And he walked.
Remember? And he rode down this.
He walked up the stairs.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
To the White House.
Yeah.
To the balcony.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that guy so much,
Yeah.
man. Mr. President, the people of this country are with you.
Yeah. Biden just had COVID not too long ago. And
Oh, you can't get COVID because he was
Vaccinated.
injected and boosted, and you can't get it.
Yeah.
There's no way to get it.
It's going around again. It has been going around again.
People get sick. My position, and I was mocked for it, was I would rather die than help kill this country.
Yeah. Well, so
Period.
many of us feel that way. That's for sure.
End of story.
This is our country that we love. We're grateful to be here. And we want to keep it the way it should be. And it shouldn't go astray with people who hate it. And
Really?
that's why we have to watch out for the future. We're happy now, but what happens later?
Well, here's the good news. Here's some more good news. Can you stand any? What does Trump say? When he says, are you tired of winning yet? Are you tired of winning? So the TV ratings. I think I'm the only person in the Coachella Valley that sets his alarm for 2:59 so I can watch Mika smell her diaper. She always makes that nose, Joe. And then when Joe and Barnacle, who was a disgraced former writer for the Boston Globe, who was fired for stealing somebody else's work, who found himself somehow as a spokesperson for truth on PMSNBC. It's ridiculous. Another hack, total hack. And so they'll talk about sports, and she'll be going, Joe, let's move on. And he just goes, anyway, Mike, the Red Sox and the Yankees. Joe, move on. Anyway, Mike, I mean, he just dismisses her. I mean, if a conservative on Fox dismiss Judge Janine like that?
Oh my goodness gracious! We don't even want to go
You
there.
don't want to go there.
Don't want to go there.
So he sold his man card a long time ago, Joe Scarborough.
Yeah.
Do you know that they make $1 million a month together?
Unbelievable.
Because that's $12 million a year. And they have a nice place, of course, on the vineyard. And you know how it is on Martha's Vineyard. And then they wanted to tell you to stay home from work. Otherwise, you're trying to kill your fellow workers.
That's right.
You stay home from work while they're making $1 million a month. The audacity of the left in this country knows.
And they won't come
no
back
limits.
from their homes to go back to work.
No.
No, it's still a tremendous
And
problem.
they had a fake set at the convention. Remember, they made believe they were at the Republican convention
Yeah.
on MSDNC.
right.
They had the backdrop of the Republican convention, but they're sitting in Manhattan.
Yes. Manhattan.
Manhattan. That's how we say it over there. So all of this stuff going on, and
And what about the border? Let's talk a minute about the border
the
problem.
border is, what's the matter? The border's closed.
Yeah.
We've
What's wrong with you?
We've closed this border.
Control.
And look at the amount of pain and anguish that has been caused.
Well, look
By
at what
that
happened
overlord.
this morning with that trial starting.
Yes.
I mean, it's just, you can't even talk about it. And the poor police officer that found her body
Yes.
was just beside himself. I mean,
On a walk to school.
and the guy is sitting there being filmed. And of course, they've got the things in his ear so he can understand because they're putting in Spanish for him.
Right.
And he, no emotion, no nothing, kills this beautiful young girl and nothing.
Donald Trump said many years ago, they're emptying their prisons. Okay? Crime is
That's
going
exactly
down
right.
in Venezuela.
That's right.
Crime is going down in Colombia. Our crime is going up because they dumped all those criminals here.
Yes.
Oh, he's a anti-Hispanic, he's a racist, he's xenophobic. No, he isn't. No, he is not. He's a racist. No, he isn't. He's employed more African Americans than half the Democratic Party has. Without it, and he was working with African American groups to help guys that were in prison,
That's right.
to give some that deserved it a second chance. Not like these guys who arrested and let go rapists and murderers and criminals.
Yeah.
And then we had the video of these apartment buildings, right, in Colorado. Trump went there.
Right.
Only one.
Yeah, it was only one.
It's only a
That's right.
few.
Let's not
And
forget that.
J.D. Vance.
Only one.
That's
not too many.
Classic.
J.D. Vance said, listen to yourself.
Yeah.
Do you hear what you say?
Yeah.
That only 4 or 5 apartment complexes have been taken over by gangs?
Can you imagine how terrifying when they were trying to kick that door
Kick the
in?
door in of
Yeah, I
people's
mean, that
homes.
was absolutely terrifying.
And a liberal Democrat mayor and
What were
governor,
they going to do when they got in that door to those people?
they're going to throw them out and take over the house. That's what they do.
Unreal.
So we have a problem, but we have finally a problem solver.
But I
in the
think
White House.
people are going to be really more apt to take things into their own hands when they know that we've got a president who's going to back them up.
Amen. Amen.
Because, where was it? If those people knocked through that door and got those people, nobody was going to do anything about it. Colorado's the worst state in the world.
How about Tom Homan?
Yeah,
Can we
Tom
talk
Homan,
about
that's
Tom
a bully.
Homan?
That's a guy that's going to take care
Tom
of
Homan
business.
is a bulldog.
Yep.
Arrgh. You can hear him going. Arrgh.
Yeah, you can. No, you can.
I know he's got half a growl in everything he says. What are you going to do? Arrest them all? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to arrest them
Yeah.
all. If you
Yeah.
commit a crime in this country and you're here illegally, you're gone.
Yeah.
Now, they don't. There's this notion that people's grandmothers are going to get deported, and it's not going to happen. That's ridiculous. But if you're here illegally, I suggest you get some paperwork. You want to work in this country for 100 years or more. We had work permits coming up from Mexico and the South Americas. People came to work, no problem. They had a permit, and if they did it the right way, they get a green card, and there was always a path
That's
to
right.
citizenship in this country.
That's right.
We are immigrants. Okay, we love immigrants, legal immigrants. Paris Island. I mean, not Paris Island. What was it? Ellis Island, and the Statue of Liberty still stands there. And when you came through there, they checked you.
My mother came through there with no shoes. They had bananas to eat on the ship to get there, And she walked in and she was almost 18 years old and she was an American citizen because her father came before and got his citizenship. So
Right.
when he brought the family, that's what happened.
And my family came on the Teutonic, not the Titanic.
The Teutonic.
Thank goodness, as
I didn't
Joe
know there
Biden,
was a
as Joe
Teutonic.
Biden would say, hand to God, hand to God. They
Yeah.
came on a ship called
But,
the
I
Teutonic.
want to interrupt you
Yes,
because I
please.
think I saw Jeff Gonzalez right outside. Now, there's a man whose parents came from Mexico, had him here, and guess what? He's going to be our new U.S. California Assemblyman.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of Jeff
So
Gonzalez.
I want to go get him. Do you mind?
No, please. Jeff Gonzalez is an unbelievable success story. Jeff Gonzalez is a hoorah Marine. And he's here with us. Unbelievable. My brother, you did it.
This is a
You
surprise.
dirty dog. So proud of you.
Well, we're still counting. We're still curing. We're still out
I know.
there doing
They're going to
things.
try and take it, but I'll tell you, this is our
It's
dear
very
friend.
good.
This is our
It's
dear
looking
friend.
very good.
Jeff.
How many votes ahead as of today?
As of today, Frank, I think we're like 3,600.
That's it.
But who's
So-
counting?
That's a win.
And I'll tell you, you have no idea how amazing that is in this community on a local basis.
Yes.
Because that crew down there is crooked,
Yeah.
big time. I don't mind telling you. And what a story you are. I mean,
Well, we had the opportunity to go to the community and present our values. Joy brought somebody here. I think it was Brandon
state, yeah, Straka.
Straka, and I heard him say this once, and I've never forgotten it. He said, policy over politics. He said, when you go out there, talk about policy over politics. So I did. I followed it. And he's done amazing stuff in this campaign season, right? And even before that. So I did that. I followed that. And I followed that to the T. Values driven, policy over politics. And a lot of people came by and said, you know what? Thank you. Thank you for bringing us together. Thank you for uniting us. Thank you for talking about the things that are important to us. And that's where I stayed. And Democrats, no party preference, independents, Republicans, they all came together and said, we're going to unite and we're going to talk about the things that are impacting our community. I didn't shift my values.
No.
I stayed true to my values and I brought people together for the essential things.
Well, we were just talking about how this woman, many years ago when you were here, when she put up those posters, those billboards, Hispanic values are Republican values. And she took a lot of heat.
Absolutely.
She took a lot of heat for that. But that's exactly what is now taking place all over this country in an amazing amount of votes for Donald Trump. And the one thing you did do, which sadly a lot of California candidates do, is you didn't run away from Trump. You embraced him as the party leader.
Look, here's the thing. The community has spoken overwhelmingly. If you just look at the data, remove the personalities. If you look at the data tells us it's time for a change. That's what the data says. Then the voters spoke, and the voters said, if we have two people here, who can enact that change? And they voted clearly,
Yes.
overwhelmingly for Donald Trump. So if they're asking for change, they use their voice for change, and they put the person of change in there. How can the state not say, we got to do something? We have to create change.
Right.
So that's what's happening. People are standing up, and I love it. All the way from Calexico to Coachella to every single place throughout the district, people are saying, and throughout the state and throughout the country, they're saying, now is the time. Let's not lose momentum. This, Marine, this regular guy who can get out there and be an arrow for the people.
You're far from a regular guy there, my brother.
That's what we have.
You're far from a regular guy. You were the tip of the spear. And as a veteran who has worked diligently on behalf of other veterans, it's got to give you a kind of a warm feeling to see Hexit from the Grunt Crew as the Secretary of Defense. What's your take on that?
My take is it's kind of like if you go to a mechanic shop and you talk to the owner of a mechanic shop, and you ask him, hey, how many cars have you fixed? Well, I don't fix any cars. I've sold cars, I don't fix them. Then you go to the mechanic and you say, hey, what kind of car should I get? That's who you want to go to. Right. So in this specific instance, we have the mechanic who's going to the top. We have a mechanic who's saying, I've fought alongside men and women. I've fought in war. I've felt the pain. So as a combat veteran, I love the fact that we have a combat veteran speaking for the men and women of our armed forces and advocating for them.
And how about they're making believe that Major Tulsi Gabbard is maybe overmatched as the director of national intelligence. Would you care to address that?
People said, Jeff, what do you think? You're a little overmatched for this, going to Sacramento and being able to speak to people and doing that job. And I said, well, that's a possibility. But when I had a warring faction tribe with AK-47s on one side of the table and another warring faction on the other side with AK-47s, and they want to kill each other, and all that's between them is food and Jeff, I think I can go to Sacramento and talk to a couple people.
Amen. Amen.
So Tulsi Gabbard, I think she can go to DC. I think she can go around the world and talk to a couple people. Yeah. So I'm thankful that this warrior, I'm not saying woman, because it has nothing to do with it. A warrior is advocating for us.
Amen. And it doesn't hurt to have a vice president, the first Marine vice president of the United States of America.
Well, I'm a little biased when it comes to that, right? I'm a little biased that we have a Marine. I know how he trained because I went through the same training.
Yes.
I know what he saw because I saw the same things. I know the sand that he ate because I ate that same sand. So to have a vice president up there that has chewed the same dirt that I've chewed and has earned the title of United States Marine, I'm behind him.
All right.
Yeah.
And, without going too deep into it, there's been this, in the eastern part of the valley, there's been this sort of a cabal of, I'll scratch your back, you scratch my back, and you are interrupting that. And tell me a little bit. Tell me a little bit about how that is working.
So we're going to bring it back down to local, right? Back down to here. There are friends of mine that are Democrat, Republican, and everything in between. And they said, Jeff, it's time for accountability. It's time for change. And it has nothing to do with party. It has to do with accountability. There are people that have been milking the system
Amen.
For far too long. And how do I know that? Because my Democrat friends are telling me, Jeff, this is what they're doing. They're milking the system, but their time is up. The time has come for truth, for freedom, for honesty, and for accountability.
Amen.
So I'll be working with the nonprofits that are doing good things, honest things, but the ones that are not, stand by.
Amen, Jeff Gonzalez, we are so proud of you.
Thank you.
And really, you for several years you've been working your tail off, and it's a miracle. It's a miracle.
To God be the glory.
To God be the glory, Pastor Jeff.
That's right,
brother.
So here's my message as I step off to everyone, those that are watching, listening, and here today. Now is the time for unity, community unity, where we bring people from all sides together and we say, we can't do this alone. It's going to take, I want to say an army, but I'm a Marine. It's going to take a Marine corps of community members from all sides to come together, hold people accountable, and say, it's time to change California for the better.
Amen.
It's time to put new people in office that are morally, ethically, that can go to office from janitor, librarian, to the governor's office and say, it's time to do what's right for the community. And the time is now. 2025 is going to be a great year, and it's going to take all of us from all sides to come together and say, let's do this.
Let me ask you one more question. How much has Joy Miedecke and these women meant to you?
All good.
I thought we were going to be tough and not cry. If not for Joy, if not for Heidi, if not for the volunteers, the warrior women of the East Valley Republican
Amen.
Women Patriot Warriors, as I now label you, we wouldn't be able to cure ballots. We wouldn't be able to get the message out. We wouldn't be able to have an army of warrior women out there. They mean everything to me. They mean everything to me. And the fight has just begun.
Amen.
We're ready.
Thank you, my brother. Thanks for coming. Yeah, I love you so much. So proud of you. Jeff. Okay. Oh, here it is. Excuse me.
Oh, thank you.
My father would get out of the grave and smack me if I didn't hold that chair. Well, it's been quite an opening salvo, Joy. Thank you, Jeff, for coming. Thank you, Jeff Harrison, for the
absolutely.
amazing work tonight. And we're so grateful. It's just the beginning.
We're very grateful.
We hope to come to you every Friday around this time, God willing. We love you. We love our community. We love our country. And I'm proud of the president of these United States who's about to take office, and he's going to put fire breathers in there.
That's right.
And we haven't even touched on, just briefly. I saw the president talking about this, and it was my exact feeling. I'm watching TV, and I see 3 missiles coming out of the sky. Now, when I was a kid, Abbott and Costello went to space. The rockets landed straight down. But that's impossible. You know, we know that. We know they can't land straight down. They landed in the ocean, and they landed in the desert. But we know that rockets don't come straight down and land where they're supposed to. I'm watching this on TV, and 1,
Yep.
2,
Yep.
3 land like butterflies.
Mm-hmm.
They weigh like 50 million tons. Butterfly. And I said, oh my God.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk is not afraid of anybody. And he is, along with the great, look at Vivek Ramaswamy. They say Trump holds grudges. Look who he's picked. Doug Burgum is going to be the Secretary of the Interior. He's a fabulous former governor who knows what he's doing. He's an oil guy, but he's also an environmentalist, but a common sense environmentalist.
That's right.
Kristi Noem, how could I not mention her?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Oh my goodness gracious. First time I noticed her, she was on horseback holding an American flag in a parade.
Oh,
and I
wow.
said, who is that woman?
I remember her doing plumbing.
Oh, yeah, she was doing the plumbing. Another great selection. Amazing people in our party. And the president is hard at work right now. He hasn't taken a minute off. The guy doesn't sleep. He doesn't have to do this. He could golf every day for the rest of his life. He could travel the world, whatever he wanted to do. And how about maybe the 51st president of the United States, 7-foot-tall Barron Trump?
Yep. Who knows?
Who knows?
That kid, did you see him in the whole family? And here he is way up there. It was just amazing.
I know, he's amazing.
Just amazing. Where did he come from?
I love the man.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed of it. I'm proud of this
But
country.
here's something to think about, Rich.
Yes.
Why don't Democrats have people like this? I mean, we have scholars, brilliant people who've been through war. We have all of this, and they don't have any of it.
Well, I'm sad to say that the party is corrupt, that they focus so much on cheating. For example, the voter ID That should be mandatory. What is the
Right.
problem? You have to have an ID to get a pack of Marlboro Lights in California.
And you certainly can't get on a plane without one.
I mean, you gotta show your ID. It's kind of annoying. Not that
Right.
I would know.
But it used to be that way, and they took it all away from us. The reason being so they could
cheat. That's the only
That's
reason
right.
to not have a voter ID. And while we're at it, there's something I forgot to talk to Jeff about, and that is my hope and dream since I moved here is that on election day, the votes are counted where they are cast. Where I come from, if you vote in a high school, those votes are counted right there before they're sent downtown. In this crazy California, there's too much power in the county seat.
That's right.
And so it's got to be fixed. These votes that you voted for here are not counted here.
That's right.
They're shipped up to Riverside.
Well, you wouldn't have to even check the signatures if you had the ID.
Of course.
Because before you actually cast your vote, you'd know who you really were.
That's right. And an absentee
It's not
ballot
that way.
should be rare. It should be for somebody who's not going to be in town. Okay. You should have registrars that would go to elderly housing units.
Right.
That's how we did it. You went to they came
Got
and
the
voted
votes.
for you. Because the way it's run now is I'm not going to say it's corrupt, though I feel it might be. I think it leaves the door open to
It
corruption.
leaves the door. But remember, every state is in charge of their own destiny there.
Right. Well, that's why.
So
That's why we
this
need
isn't
this
a
to change.
presidential thing. The president has to dictate, and hopefully they'll get it.
Well, we
but
need that
we got to
change.
get it back
We
because
do.
if we don't, we're never going to have honest elections.
And first of all,
ever.
now it's November 15th, and we don't know we don't really know about Jeff. He's got a great lead thanks to great work. But that should be done that night.
It should be done that
We
night.
should know the night. Do you know New York City counts its votes before the Coachella Valley counts theirs?
Yeah, it's nuts.
Do you know if you live in Blythe, you know how your ballot gets counted? It gets helicoptered
Right.
from Blythe to Riverside.
Yeah,
How many ballot boxes are laying out in the desert?
yeah, that's right.
I mean, so that has to be addressed. I think, let me see. Did I get everything, Joy? I think I got everything.
You got everything. Yeah.
Thank you,
Yes.
Joy.
Thank you, Rich.
What a great honor and a pleasure. And thank you, ladies. Let me just say, you want to say something in closing?
I just want to say, come to the Patriots store, shop, enjoy everything. We're going to have an inauguration. Everybody needs to have something to wear, right? Whether
Amen.
you're going or not. I think I'll plan a party.
Let's have an inauguration party.
We'll definitely have a party here. Come in, help us count, and check out what's happening with these ballots that aren't cured. Let's get them cured. Let's get these people elected. Get it on the books. We won.
We won.
2024.
That's right. And don't hang your head. Wear your Trump hat.
That's right.
I wore my. How about this scene? It's a McDonald's. The camera's on Donald Trump.
Yeah.
He says, you take the cardboard box, hold it firmly. You scoop the French fries. You place them in the box, never touched by human hands.
Yeah.
And then he turned to the rest of the kids in there. He goes, I like this job.
Yeah, he did.
I like this
the
job. And he's scooping fries all day.
Yeah.
And I am a former garbage man. I worked on the back of the trucks. In my day,
Wow.
I could jump off the truck, pick up 4 steel garbage cans, put them in the hopper, flip them up, get back on the truck. They'd land like Musk missiles. Boom, 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 boom. So when they called us garbage, the genius of Donald Trump,
Yes.
the limousine to the rally, a garbage truck. And of course, he goes up to talk about he's wearing the garbage man's cape,
With his vest. Yeah.
his vest. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness. He goes, I wasn't going to wear
You
this.
can't make this stuff up.
I wasn't going to wear this because I paid good money for that suit. And they said, well, no, wear that. I go, I can't wear this. Give me my suit coat. And they said, well, it makes you look a little thinner. He goes,
Oh, I mean,
okay, I'll wear it. The guy has a sense of humor.
he really does have
He's
a
a
wonderful
human
sense of
being.
humor. That's right.
And they're going to attack him and attack him and attack everybody. But we are stronger than they are. We have the votes. And we have to act like we have the votes and not take a backward step. And that's why you have Gates in the Justice Department. That's why you have Hegseth at the Department of Defense as the Secretary of Defense,
Right.
which makes their heads explode.
Yeah.
Now, please, Mr. President, one more thing. Tucker Carlson for press secretary. Please. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
God bless you all, and God bless
Thank
America.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was good.